I have a confession to make. I tend to get caught in the I can fix it trap. Even though I know I'll feel better when the first draft is done and I have deeper insight into my project, I feel compelled to stop and revise over and over and over again. Stopping and revising is the biggest holdup for first draft completion. So, why do we do it? Let's dig in. Welcome to Write, Writer, Write, Episode 11. I'm your host, Deborah Froese. If you're one of those writers who can sit down in front of a computer or with pen in hand and blow your way through a first draft, this episode might not be for you. But if you find yourself continuously stopping to revise, barely turtling forward, you may be caught in the I can fix it trap, the compulsion to make everything perfect as you go. Let's start with the root of the problem. The myth of the perfect first draft. Whether we admit it or not, we all want that first draft to be something special, something we can proudly share as soon as we type the end. That objective tends to make us more receptive to our inner critic than our guiding intuition. It makes us stop and revise our words repeatedly and sweat over small details, trying to fix every little thing before we really have anything of substance to fix. It sucks away confidence and momentum. And besides, there is no such thing as perfect. So let's blast that myth out of the water. A first draft is not supposed to be perfect. It's nothing more than a preliminary exploration of your subject matter. It's full of messy sentences and unclear thoughts. A draft is, well, drafty and full of holes, something you probably shouldn't share with anyone. So think of your first draft as an experiment, a place you can test your ideas and see how they come together. A place where you can ask what-if questions and chase tangents without worrying about whether it works or not. Writing is a process of discovery. You'll know more about your subject matter by the time you reach the end than you did when you began. It's a natural part of that process. Invariably, that means returning to page 1 to weave in any new discoveries you made along the way, like adding a whole new character to your novel or reorganizing the content of your business book. So here's the question. If you know changes are inevitable after the first draft, how much time do you want to put into revising as you write? What if all those painstaking revisions end up on the cutting room floor? Let's take a look at 3 common I can fix it roadblocks. Number 1, I need to know more. Even if you have a good idea of where you're going when you start writing, you'll experience plenty of knowledge gaps. You'll be tempted to think, I can write this better if I know more about it. This is one of the most deceptive traps, especially if you love research. And I get it, research feels productive, but it can be a rabbit hole. It can be a series of rabbit holes. You're mid-sentence and think, well, what kind of tree grows fastest in Iceland? Or how many businesses went bankrupt in 2020? Do you really need that answer now? Sometimes you do need answers to move forward, but often you don't. You can safely drop in a few reminder lines and fine-tune it later. Number 2, I'm undecided. If you don't know what name to choose for a character, or what order makes the most sense for chapters in a guidebook, don't worry about it. Assign a temporary name and switch it out later, or jot down your thoughts about organization for future reference. Just keep moving forward. Number 3, I can say this better. This is probably the most common roadblock, and let me be clear, you probably can say it better. After all, this is just your first try. But that's not the point. The first draft is not the time for polishing. If you're clarifying your thoughts to understand what you're really trying to say so you can move forward, that's one thing. But if you're just fussing over word choice and sentence rhythm, you're in editing mode, not creative mode. And remember, because this is just a draft, you may end up removing some of the sections you're fussing over anyway. Is that really the best use of your time? The key to finishing your first draft isn't talent or confidence or inspiration. It's discipline. It's the commitment to keep going even when the words feel awkward, even when the structure is unclear, even when your internal editor, or maybe your inner critic, is throwing a tantrum. Draft discipline is reminding yourself that messy is normal, that progress beats perfection, that the only way out is through. Here are a few practical things that help. Use a separate document or notebook for revision notes or pop them into manuscript comments. That way, you're not tempted to stop and fix things midstream for fear of losing your thoughts. Challenge yourself to build endurance. Set a timer. Promise yourself you'll write for 30 minutes without stopping, no matter how clumsy it feels or how awful it looks. And mute your inner critic. When that voice pops up, acknowledge it. Thank it for looking out for you and move on. You can address its concern later when you get to draft 2. And if you haven't listened to episode 10 yet, check it out for more insight into your inner critic. As both a writer and an editor, I'm particularly prone to the I can fix it trap. The urge to polish every sentence before moving on is strong. So for my latest project, I'm using a completely different approach than I've used before. Instead of drafting full chapters line by line, I jot down a rough narrative sketch, a loose forward-moving summary of what happens in each section or chapter, with just enough detail to give it shape. If a line of dialogue or a specific image comes to mind, I capture it, but I don't get hung up on refining it. I just put down enough words to trigger the image or a reminder. So the focus is on shaping, not perfecting, moving forward rather than circling the same few pages over and over again, which is so easy to do. With this method, I can quickly draft a chapter in about 4 pages instead of getting bogged down trying to perfect 10 or 15. As I move forward and more story details emerge for chapters I've already drafted, I can easily go back, drop notes in place for future reference without breaking momentum. By the time I reach the end, I'll have the full arc and most of the key elements in place. Then in draft 2, I can focus on fleshing everything out, deepening scenes, tightening structure, and honing the voice. This approach helps me sidestep perfectionism and stay in motion because I'm not obsessing over every sentence or worrying about whether I'm getting it right. I'm just getting it out. I can easily shape a chapter in an hour or so. And the beauty of this approach, because I'm constantly moving forward and discovering new insights, my curiosity is piqued. My enthusiasm and energy for the project remain high. If you're struggling with your first draft, you might give this approach a try, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. When you're finished that rough first draft, the real fun begins. That's when you finally know what you're working with, when the project has a solid shape, when your revisions become purposeful, not speculative. So let's wrap this episode up with a reminder. The first draft is only for you. It's not meant to share. It's your sandbox, your field notes, your sketch, your continued exploration of story shape. Let it be rough. Let it be incomplete. Let it be full of contradictions and gaps and stuff you're not sure about and you're not proud of. Because writing is not about getting it right the first time. It's about showing up and doing the work. If you can learn to write through the mess instead of constantly tidying as you go, you'll be amazed at what you can create and how much faster you can create it. So the next time you're tempted by the I can fix it compulsion, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is the I can fix it trap helping me move forward or holding me back? If it's the latter, leave a note and keep writing. Thanks for spending time with me today. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a fellow writer who might be stuck in the I can fix it trap. Until next time, trust the process and write, writer, write.